yesterday to be for the initiation ceremony, and they were getting initiated. Why would they get initiated? They were getting initiated to be in Krishna's family, recognizing the importance of giving up our material kind of identity, giving up our material relationships, and realizing the real essence, which is of the spiritual nature. Why? Because the Lord, His devotees, this relationship is eternal, this relationship is ever blissful, and this relationship actually is what's going to be the most beneficial for us and all. So all these boys, yesterday they took this step in their life. It's just the beginning. It's not like now they've achieved the perfection of life, but they are now initiated into the process of reaching the perfection of life. So this is very good. I'm so happy to see Madhav and Tulsi and Parth. Parth's, he just had a das at the end. That's all he was missing, was das. So we're very happy for them. Today's subject matter is on the glories of the Lord's devotee. We just had the Nrsimha Chaturdasi festival, Lord Nrsimha Dev. And really the Lord Nrsimha Dev pastime, it just glorifies Prahlad Maharaj over and over and over again. And you see Lord Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsimha Dev's, you could say enemy. Prahlad was a pure devotee, and Hiranyakashipu, he even had Prahlad's material interest in mind. He wanted him to be rich, he wanted him to have nice material enjoyment, he wanted him to have all these things that actually most parents want their kids to have, which is why Hiranyakashipu is more near and dear than we realize. But actually, you see, what ended up happening is Prahlad wanted none of it. He only wanted devotion to the Lord. But in that, you see what happens. He was so pure, and Hiranyakashipu was so adamant about trying to, convince Prahlad, and then eventually he decided Prahlad was his enemy, and he feared Prahlad. And they tried killing in so many ways. And then eventually Lord Nrsimha, the Lord himself, came and ripped Hiranyakashipu apart, as we saw in the picture here. The picture right there. And what ends up happening is that afterwards, after it's all said and done, Lord Nrsimha Dev wants Prahlad to rule the demons. And all those things that Hiranyakashipu wanted anyway, all the wealth, all the opulence, all the nice material comforts, they were there. But actually, what was the use of them all? To serve the Lord. And so this is the proper mood. It should be to serve the Lord first. And anything else, it's either favorable for that or it's rejected. Wealth can be used in service to the Lord. Position could be used in service to the Lord. Power can be used in service to the Lord. But those things should never be sought on their own. So anyhow, lest we walk the path of Hiranyakashipu, and then the Lord may personally come and rip our aspirations right apart. You may have seen this a little bit in your life when you've tried to become the controller, the enjoyer, this, that, and the other, and the Lord, He just, stifles your plans over and over and over again. So the devotee, these boys took initiation yesterday, and I believe I missed it actually because I didn't realize the timing. Tulsi Das, Hare Krishna. I didn't realize the timing. Then I had to go shower, but I missed it. But they were talking about Prahlad Maharaj and how he's the exemplary bhakta. And we should see Prahlad Maharaj had everything. He had all of the material. He was the king of the demons, before he gave it over to his grandson Bali. But he used everything in the Lord's service, and he wasn't attached to anything. So he had the proper mood. So anyway, we're going to learn about another pure devotee today, named Maharaj Yudhishthir, the eldest brother of the Pandavas. One of the three Haridasas. Is the son any good? Yeah. Okay. One of the three Haridasas of the Bhagavatam. He's actually the, you could say, the least of the Haridasas in the Bhagavatam, actually. There are two higher Haridasas than Maharaj Yudhishthir. But Maharaj Yudhishthir, not to minimize his position, he is a great devotee. Very, very great devotee. And so actually we're going to hear about his glorifications in this verse. We were talking about we were talking about in the past few verses how he ruled the kingdom. The last verse was, Emperor Yudhishthira administered generously to everyone during his reign. He was exactly like his father, Pandu. He had no personal ambition and was freed from all sorts of sense gratification because of his continuous service unto the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna. He was the most wealthy person in the world, but he had none of his own personal ambition. Everything was for service unto the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, and he was freed from all sorts of sense gratification. Why? Because he was so busy serving the Lord, there's no time for sense gratification. You see this even yesterday, because we were so engaged in devotional activities yesterday. We honored Prasad, I think, once, and even that, we all ate much less than probably we normally would, and we were just so engaged that there wasn't really much room for sense gratification. It was a recharge day. It was very nice, doing the yajna and so on. So, this is how Maharaj Yudhishthira lived his life. So, before we begin though, because I'll always forget, what we're going to do is I'm going to hand the computer to Dushyant. So, where did Meghna go, Dushyant, by the way? Okay. She traded with you. I said, you should go get Dushyant, and then they tagged me. So we're going to do these prayers, so you can read along there. If you know them, chant along. This is honoring our Guru Bhagavatam. Actually, these were the prayers that they got initiated on. So I don't know if you heard the ceremony. These prayers were very pivotal to the initiation. Maybe I'd say about half of the initiation prayers were these prayers. So, very important. benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses the heart of material desires in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to his messages, which are themselves virtues when properly heard and chanted. Nasta praya shobha vishnu, nityam bhagavata sevaya, bhagavati by regular hearing of the Bhagavatam, by rendering service to the pure devotee, almost all that is troublesome to the heart is removed. None of the speakers on the God. His praise of transcendent song is established. So welcome, Piyush and Madhav and Dushan. Okay. And Tulsidas, you'll join us? Yes, good. And where's Partdas? He's still making pancakes. Will you be able to join or no? You'll be listening. Okay. No problem. Parth is a sevak. Alright. Repeat after me. Sampada kratavo loka. Sampada kratavo loka. Mahishi brataro mahi. Mahishi brataro mahi. Jambu dvipadipatyam cha. Yashascha tridivam gatam. Sampada, opulence. Kratava, sacrifices. Loka, future destination. Mahishi, the queens. Brataraha, the brothers. Mahi, the earth. Jambudvip, the globe or planet of our residence. Adipatyam, sovereignty. Cha, also. Yasha, fame. Cha, and. Tridivam, celestial planets. Gatam, spread over. Translation. News even reached the celestial planets about Maharaj Yudhishthira's worldly possessions, the sacrifices by which he would attain a better destination. His queen, his stalwart brothers, his extensive land, his sovereignty over the planet Earth, and his fame, etc. Purport. Only a rich and great man's name and fame are known all over the world, and the name and fame of Maharaj Yudhishthira reached the higher planets because of his good administration, worldly possessions, a glorious wife Draupadi, the strength of his brothers Bhima and Arjuna, and his solid sovereign power over the world known as Jambudvip. Here the word loka is significant. There are different lokas or higher planets scattered all over the sky, both material and spiritual. A person can reach them by dint or by means of his work in the present life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 9.25, no forceful entrance is allowed there. The tiny material scientists and engineers who have discovered vehicles to travel over a few thousand miles in outer space will not be allowed entrance. That is not the way to reach the better planets. One must qualify himself to enter into such happy planets by sacrifice and service. This is the secret to success in life. Sacrifice and service, and you will become qualified for a higher existence. Hiranyakashipu and his many followers, which are like us, are our degraded, conditioned nature. We think we can just take what we want from this world by storm. But actually everything is given by grace of the Lord through sacrifice and service. So if you sacrifice and you serve, that's how you get all these things. So those who are sinful in every step of life can expect only to be degraded into animal life, to suffer more and more the pangs of material existence. Hare Krishna. And this is also stated in Bhagavad Gita 16:19. Maharaj Yudhishthira's good sacrifices and qualifications were so lofty or so high and virtuous that even the residents of the higher celestial planets were already prepared to receive him as one of them. So this is, Maharaj Yudhishthira was so grandiose that even in the higher planets, they were, even in the higher planetary systems, they would speak of his fame, his glory, all of these things. So this is actually the position of a great devotee. He becomes so great by Krishna's mercy that all will recognize. And actually you look, I don't know, maybe there were big great rulers, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, I'm just thinking of a few in history. Even Adolf Hitler was for some years known as a great ruler in society. But just, see, people, they'll be forgotten about. Maharaj Yudhishthira was far older than, but still he's being glorified today. Why? Because he's a great devotee of the Lord. And the devotees will always spread his glories for many, many eons to come. And the Mahabharata is still being spoken today in India, all over the world. So you will see... Yes, this is very good. What's that?
Pride is dangerous.
Yes, it's very dangerous. But at the same time, you can be proud of your guru. You can be proud for devotional life, and you can be proud of the Lord. So you can be proud that Michael has who is Michael? You can be proud that Madhav has taken this next step in his life. Now you're allowed to be proud for that. It's a good pride. Yes. This will be Madhav's favorite bhajan now. So, let's read the next. Go ahead.
The Madhu dynasty. I was looking up
the Yadu dynasty.
Yeah, but Madhu was. I was looking up definitions of Madhava and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, I actually know Madhava is the spring season. So maybe I think the gopis would call him Madhav because he would enjoy in the springtime together and things like this. But there's many, I think, meanings of Madhav. Yes, so maybe we'll have to go through and maybe Madhav will become expert in all these definitions. So let's continue. Kim te kama surasparha Mukunda manaso dvija Adhi jahrur mudam ragyaha Kshuditasya dhyate tare Kim, what for? Te, all those. Kama, objects of sense enjoyment. Sura, of the denizens of heaven. Sparha, aspirations. Mukunda manasa, of one who is already God conscious. Dvija, O brahmanas. Adijahru, could satisfy. Mudam, pleasure. Ragya, of the king. Kshuritasya, of the hungry. Yatha, as it is. Itare, and other things. Translation, O brahmanas, the opulence of the king was so enchanting that the denizens of heaven aspired for it. But because he was absorbed in the service of the Lord, nothing could satisfy him except the Lord's service. So you just see, Prabhupada will have a lot to say. There are two things in the world which can satisfy living beings. When one is materially engrossed, he is satisfied only by sense gratification. What's sense gratification? Dushan, what do you think sense gratification is?
Pleasing the senses.
Yes, you know about the five senses of the body? What are the five senses?
Touch, taste, smell, sight, hearing.
Yes, all five of those senses. So when one is materially engrossed, one is only satisfied by sense gratification. So, I want to touch things I want to touch, soft, nice things. I want to taste things that I want to taste, right? I want to feel things, or I want to hear things like different music, different songs, all of these things. So, but actually, what he's saying, so these are what someone who's materially engrossed, this is how they enjoy in sense gratification. But when one is liberated from the conditions of the material modes, he is satisfied only by rendering loving service for the satisfaction of the Lord. This means that the living being is constitutionally a servitor and not one who is served. And you see this, all the great devotees, actually even not so great devotees, even us here, once you get a taste for some devotional service, if you try to go back to sense gratification, you just feel guilty, you don't feel good about it, and you know if you have any type of little bit of logic in the brain, this is a temporary arrangement and I can't actually be happy like this. But at most 99.999% of living entities, they just alternate sense gratification. Well, let me taste this today, let me hear this today, let me see something I want to see, maybe on the screens or the YouTube or this, that, and other thing. All these things, they just keep alternating, thinking, maybe this will make me happy, then maybe this will make me happy. But they're never happy. But actually, this is how the person's always happy, and actually they develop no taste. They develop, as is said in Bhagavad Gita, a higher taste. Why? Because by nature, our soul is a servant of the Lord. That's what we actually are. At this soul level, we're part and parcel of the Lord, and we have a relationship with the Lord. So naturally, that's why Yudhishthir, even though he had all the best means of sense gratification, he could eat the finest dishes, he had the most beautiful wife, and he had even other wives at his disposal. He could have anything that he wanted. He could have all types of enjoyments of the material world. But what was he only satisfied? Nothing could satisfy him except the Lord's service. Why? Because this is the most satisfying thing. That's what the word Ram means. Most pleasing. I'm Ram Das. I'm the servant of the most pleasing Lord. So no type of sense gratification, which is temporary, could ever satisfy us like service to the Lord. Which is why we asked Tulsi Das and Madhav Das and Parth Das to join our family. Yes, and maybe we'll ask more to eventually join the family. Why? To become dasas, to become servants of the Lord. They will have an opportunity to really be satisfied. And everyone has this opportunity. Prabhupada is giving everyone the opportunity. But who has the conviction, who has even the developed intelligence to understand it? This is the thing, that's what we're trying to teach here at Mantra Central. How to actually be really satisfied. You can try and alternate sense gratification for the rest of existence, and you have many other lifetimes you can do it in, but it'll never satisfy. But Yudhishthir, he knew the secret, and he was fully satisfied and always serving the Lord. So being illusioned by the conditions of the external energy, one falsely thinks himself to be the served. People should serve me. But actually he is not served. He is servant of the senses like lust, desire, anger, avarice, pride, madness, and intolerance. We think, people are serving me, but actually, what are we demanding when others serve us? To serve our six enemies: lust, desire, anger, avarice, pride, madness, and intolerance. You should all cook for me. You should all, a man can request a woman inappropriate things. A woman can request a man inappropriate things. All of these things are due to lust and desire, and we become servants of these things. We think that, I'm the served, but actually that's not our position. We're always servants, and either we can serve Maya, or the illusory propensity of the conditioned soul, or we can serve the Lord. Service to the Lord gives a great result. Service to Maya leads to suffering over and over and over and over and over again. So these boys took an amazing step yesterday to become das, to become a servant of the Lord. We should actually all follow in their footsteps. We should, and why? Because this is the footsteps of the acharyas. To take the position of being a das. Dushyant, you should become a das one day. This would be very good. So like Tulsi Das here. This is very nice. So being illusioned by the conditions of the external energy, one falsely thinks himself to be the served, but actually is not served. He serves lust, desire, anger, avarice, pride, madness, and intolerance. When one is in his proper senses by attainment of spiritual knowledge, he realizes that he is not the master of the material world, but he is only a servant of the senses. Yes. Do we understand this? That we are not the master of anything of this world? We're slaves to the senses. Any way we think we're the master, we're slave to our vices. I enjoy, let's say we're like Robin, and I enjoy multiple women nightly. Yes. He's actually just a slave to his lust and his vices. He can't control himself, actually.
Isn't that why we're here in the first place? Because we wanted to be the master?
Exactly. Yes. That's exactly why we're here. Because this is the test world, the illusory world, where you can try and be the master. But you're not the master. So the world humbles you over and over again. And the Lord will personally, if you become such a great so-called master, but actually really what you are, if you become such a servant to the vices, your lust, desire, anger, avarice, pride, madness, and intolerance, the Lord will personally come and kill you like he does Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, and so on. At that time, he begs for the service of the Lord. When you realize you're not the master of the world, he begs for the service of the Lord and thus becomes happy without being illusioned by so-called material happiness. Maharaj Yudhishthira was one of the liberated souls, and therefore for him there was no pleasure in a vast kingdom, good wife, obedient brothers, happy subjects, and prosperous world. Anything he said, anyone would have done. He's the king. But he had no pleasure in serving the senses and trying to utilize all of those resources for his sense gratification. But instead, he also, he would give his brothers orders. Yes, he had, he would rule the subjects properly. But what was it all? What was always at the center? What do you think, Meghna? What's that?
The Lord and serving.
Yes, the Lord and service to the Lord. That's always at the center. Everything could be used. We have a house, Karmis have a house, we have a house. They use electricity pay bills, we have electricity pay bills. Toilets, all these things, cooking. But what's the difference? We can use it for the Lord's service. Otherwise, if we use it for sense gratification, this is a big mistake. And so, we suffer for this mistake. But anyhow, these blessings automatically follow for a pure devotee, even though the devotee does not aspire for them. The example set herein is exactly suitable. It is said that one who is hungry is never satisfied by anything other than food. So isn't that interesting? The devotee, all of the opulences of the world, all of the opulences of liberation, everything just follow a devotee. You don't have to do anything else. And you don't even want them. Oh, what am I going to do with that? But because you are trying to serve the Lord will give you all of the facilities to make that happen. Because this is the perfection of your life, and this is what's going to ultimately be the best thing for others. So the devotee is never bereft of anything. The devotee is the one who has the most opulence. So if you're greedy, even that's one of the reasons I started becoming a devotee. I started getting some ideas in my brain. Well, if I really want to enjoy the world, the devotee has all the facility for enjoyment. But Krishna's big trick on me is that by becoming a devotee, you lose taste for all of these things. But then, as he promises, it all comes at your facility. You're not bereft of anything. The fools chase these things. The wise, they get them all together anyway, and they don't even like them. They don't even care for them. This is the opulence of the devotee. That he has everything, but is willing to give it. You saw with Yudhishthira. He was willing to give it all away. Yes.
Wasn't there a great devotee that was given a planet?
Yes, Dhruvaloka. Dhruva. Yes.
But he didn't want it, but he did it out of...
Yes. Well, first he did want it. He was like me. He did what's called karma mishra bhakti. He was like me. He was like, well, I really want this thing, and the Lord's the one who gives all these things. So let me worship the Lord. So he did tapasya for 6 months. He learned from Narada Muni. Do you know the mantra he learned? We chant it every day before Bhagavatam. Almost. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. So he would chant this mantra for 6 months in tapasya, and he stopped eating, he stopped drinking, he almost stopped breathing. Everything was, and it became such an intense austerity that all the demigods begged Vishnu to join him. Nitai Priya Dasi, Ki Jai. Very good. Adya's mother also, you guys all know Adya. So, but Nitai Priya Dasi, or who was formerly known as Namita, joined us yesterday for initiation. She was very qualified. She's been chanting 16 rounds for many years now. I think 8 years actually, longer than I've been practicing. So it was by Krishna's arrangement. She was able to take initiation on just boom, here, there, boom. She's initiated. It was very quick, but it's very good actually. Very good. So it's said that one who is hungry is never satisfied by anything other than food. It's like a fish out of water. You can try and give the fish an oil massage. You can try and give a fish the finest food. But if the fish needs water, it needs water. So similarly, if a hungry person is hungry, even our baby, I'm seeing, our baby is always crying.
He was crying yesterday.
Yes, he was brutal last night.
I can hear. I was awake for most time.
Yeah, he was brutal last night.
Yes.
But actually, it's because my wife and I aren't that skilled at pacifying him. Why? Because a hungry person is never satisfied by anything other than food, actually. But it's because we kind of neglected my wife yesterday. We all left, and we didn't provide her proper food, so she didn't really get the nourishment she needed. So then I suffered very much later for that because the baby didn't get the nourishment he needed. And next thing you know, it was... So it was a very rough night due to this thing. Yes, so Piyush heard. Oh my gosh, it was a rough night. So, what's that?
You should be Paramananda.
Yes. In time. Piyush, he has his program is coming at some point in his life. So as one who's hungry is never satisfied by anything other than food. Just like the crying baby, he will not stop crying until you satisfy his needs. He has all these needs. So the whole material world is full of hungry living beings. All a bunch of crying babies in this world. The hunger is not good for good food. The hunger is not for good food, shelter, or sense gratification. The hunger is for the spiritual atmosphere. Everyone is a spirit soul, and you will always be hungry until you nourish your spiritual life. Due to ignorance only, they think that the world is dissatisfied because there is not sufficient food, shelter, defense, and objects of sense gratification. These are the karmis. They emphasize these things. Even like people, pious karmis, let's feed people, let's give everyone shelter, let's give everyone, protection, and, all the objects of anything that they want, let's give all facility for enjoyment in the world. But it never works out, and no one's ever satisfied, and it just spirals into more and more quarrel and a worse situation. Why? Because everyone's hungry for spiritual life, and yet they have no idea. They just keep trying to madly chase things that can never give them happiness. It's scientifically impossible. Food can never bring happiness. Sex life can never bring happiness. All of these sense gratifications, any type of intoxication, never can bring happiness. Work and money and wealth never can bring any happiness. Education and scholarship, children, nothing can bring happiness. What actually brings happiness? It's a secret. We just read it in this verse. Service to the Lord. Why? Because that's our nature. Like if you're a fish and you take out of the water, you can give all the finest food, you can give it a nice mate, you can put it in a nice little hotel room in a nice bed with its mate and say, yes, be happy. But he needs water. He's a fish. Similarly, we're a spirit soul. We're part and parcel of Krishna. We're connected to Krishna. You cannot be happy unless you get service to Krishna. That's the only way for happiness, because that's who you constitutionally are. That's what you are. You're a fish out of water in the material world, and you're trying to, maybe the massage will give me happiness. Maybe the food will give me happiness. Maybe my children will give me happiness. Maybe my husband, maybe my wife, maybe my sister, maybe my brother, maybe they'll give me happiness. They cannot give you happiness. You have to go back in the water because you're a fish. So for the soul, what are you? You need to be engaged in spiritual service to the Lord, in bhajan. So anyway, this is why we've initiated those into this process. So we need to have Priya Devi Dasi and Tulsi Das and Parth Das and Madhav Das. Where is Madhav? He's taking a long time in there. Yes. So anyway, the whole material world is full of hungry living beings. The hunger is not for good food, shelter, sense gratification. Hunger is for the spiritual atmosphere. Due to ignorance only, they think that the world is dissatisfied because I said that already. All these things. This is called illusion. Maya. When the living being is hungry for spiritual satisfaction, he is misrepresented by material hunger. But the foolish leaders cannot see that even the people who are most sumptuously materially satisfied are still hungry. We see, look at the rich people of the world. They can have all the food they want, they can have all the facility, all the money, everything they want, but they're still never satisfied. We see.
People are not so rich. Look at America.
Okay. I found this on the web for I See This.
No,
Check it out.
I don't want that.
That that's what the whole political realm is. It's like who can give me the most sense gratification.
That's right. That's why the devotees, we don't pay too much attention. Actually, I was having a realization. I have to just, unless I'm using the social media purely for doing some service, like broadcasting a program or something like that, maybe even a spiritual post, no problem. I need to get away from it because it's actually Lord Chaitanya gives 4 instructions on how to be a Vaishnava. One should not eat palatable foods, which is hard because this is one should not emphasize having very palatable foods. One should not have opulent dress. I gotta look very nice. All these things. One should not hear worldly talks, which is all social media is. The news, what Trump did, what this one did, all worldly talks. And one should not speak worldly talks. This is the symptoms of a Vaishnava. Anything else is not Vaishnava. So if these things are, and I was realizing, I read it for the first time yesterday, and I was like, yeah, I can do that pretty good. But then I was thinking, if I'm spending time on the social media, how much worldly talks I'm actually consuming, I'm hearing. Just this person did this person did this, just keeping up to events with the current events is like actually, it's so much worldly talks actually. So you have to be very careful with the social media. You have to be very careful. Why? Because it takes you away and it emphasizes all of what you just said. All these people emphasizing sanskrit. It's madness. You're just.
To me, when I was after watching the ceremonies and stuff, being on Facebook and seeing some comments about posts I made or whatever, I really got caught up in just scrolling through and watching stupid videos.
Yes,
and all that kind of stuff.
you're not the only
I
one.
had to tell myself, I gotta get out of here.
Yes, you're not the only one. I was having the realization yesterday. I was just like, this is all worldly talks in my life. Even catching up with what this friend's doing, what this person's doing, all these things. These are not the important things. So anyway, but the foolish leaders cannot see that even the people who are most sumptuously materially satisfied are still hungry. And what is their hunger and poverty? This hunger is actually for spiritual food, spiritual shelter, spiritual defense, and spiritual sense gratification. So just see all of the things that everyone else is looking for, just flip it spiritual. So prasada, honoring prasad at the temple, not worrying about, okay, I want to eat prasad today. That should be the number one thing, not that, I want even, it has to be like this, or it has to be like that, or it has to be, how can I get some prasad? Even yesterday, we were going there, and I have, even my mind is always thinking, how can I stay healthy? How can I stay healthy? But I know, okay, I'm going to a place where that's not going to always be the emphasis. But you know what? We're eating prasad today. So I found some really nice prasad, whatever is there, just take. And so we should be like this, but also we should have some sense that, okay, we have to keep our body and soul together. This is actually, this is what a devotee actually cares about. These are the main things a devotee. Can he keep his body and soul together so he can continue service? He doesn't care, I have to make sure that the bank balance is padded. He doesn't care, make sure that, everything is arranged so lavishly or so nicely. That's actually not the qualities of a devotee. Qualities of a devotee is my body and soul together to still do service. Is my service being hampered? Can I still do service? That's all Yudhishthira cared about, and Krishna gave him everything. And he said, okay, I'll put this here, put this there. Everything goes in its place so that service can be done. So this is what everyone's really looking for. That's what we're really hungry for. You want food? No problem. Spiritual food. Eat prasad. Eat that which is offered to the Lord. Doesn't have to look like this or feel like this. Find what's offered to the Lord. Spiritual shelter. That's why we emphasize ashram life. Not just here at Mantra Central Ashram, your home, Grahastha Ashram, it should be an ashram in the home. Everything should be in an ashram. Brahmachari Ashram, Vanaprastha Ashram. You need shelter, spiritual shelter, a place which is going to nourish you spiritually. This is what we're all hungry for. Defense. We are all, many times people are thinking, the military, we need to bolster this defense. What's real defense? We need defense against all of the worldly things that are trying to infiltrate and ruin us. So here we take shelter of an ashram. We take shelter of spiritual people amongst the devotees, sadhu sangha, the ultimate defense. You want defense? Join the army of Lord Chaitanya's movement. Be amongst devotees. Real defense. We get so caught up, in the politics and this will make us a Vaishnava, meaning we'll be the opposite of Vaishnavas. It'll take us away from this. So, like I was saying, Lord Chaitanya, there's 4 things we have to be very careful of. And then also association, in an illicit, the 4 regulative principles. Illicit association with the opposite sex. This is one of those things that does it too, but that's actually implied, following the pillars of Dharma, but not searching palatable foods, not searching for lavish types of dress, things like this, not hearing worldly talks and not speaking worldly talks. These are the things we have to do in our lives to become a Vaishnava, actually. So therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita 8:16, even if they're, these can be obtained in the association of the Supreme Spirit, Lord Sri Krishna, and therefore one who has them cannot be attracted by the so-called food, shelter, defense, and sense gratification of the material world, even if they are relished by the denizens of the heavenly planets. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita 8:16, it is said by the Lord that even in the topmost planet of the universe, namely the Brahmaloka, where the duration of life is multiplied by millions of years by earth calculation, one cannot satisfy his hunger. Such hunger can be satisfied only when the living being is situated in immortality, which is attained in the spiritual sky, far, far above the Brahmaloka, in the association of Lord Mukunda, the Lord who awards his devotees to the transcendental pleasure of liberation. So you'll be free from all suffering, all hankering. It'll be all, that's what Mukunda means, the great liberator. This is Krishna's position. But you'll actually get real pleasure beyond that. Right now we're so hungry, we're hankering. And we try to think this will make me happier. Maybe this will make me. Maybe I'll switch up this situation. Maybe my senses can be more pleased over here. But actually, what will please you? Service to the Lord. That's it. That's all you have. You got service to the Lord, you got everything. If you don't have service to the Lord, you've got nothing, actually. So you be very careful. I mean, we have 2 people here, Meghna and Tulsidas, who, the clock is ticking. Your association, at least with us here in Syracuse, at least what we can do, is winding down. So maybe, at least it looks like that, right? From the current, situations. So, but most likely, right? But what will you what will you do? Where will you go? How will you position yourself? If you position yourself for trying to satisfy all these material hungers, you'll never be happy. But if you position yourself in a place that can satisfy your spiritual hunger, then you can always be happy. And you can please the Lord, which is even better than your own happiness, and which will give you even more happiness. So we have to see this, especially those of you, even Mother Namita as well, or not Mother Namita, Nitai Priya, Devi Dasi, Mother Nitai Priya as well. She'll have some time here in the we'll do all as much spiritual activities as we can. But then also go back to India, even she'll go back to practically. You live in Puri?
Yeah.
Do you live in Puri or outside Puri?
नहीं उससे 300 किलोमीटर
Ranchi, she stays in Ranchi.
But
Okay,
every
yes,
month
yes.
they are visiting.
Yeah, so this is very
Two
good.
times they are visiting.
That's very good. So yeah, when we go back to our situations, Meghna maybe Calcutta, Tulsidas maybe Pittsburgh, all these things. When we go back to our situations, we'll have to position ourselves properly, so that we can get spiritual nourishment. If you don't get spiritual nourishment, you'll get no nourishment. So this is most people in this world. They're always hankering. They're always looking for more happiness, and they're never finding. It's actually a shame. It's a shame, many family, relatives, people you love, people you know, almost everyone you know. That's why the devotee becomes so compassionate. We chant, now let us offer respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnavas, the devotees of the Lord, who are just like desire trees. They fulfill the desires of everyone, and they're full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. How do they do this? They bring people Krishna. Oh my God, look at this person. They're suffering so much. How can I help? Not like let me establish, oh look, I'm fortunate, you're less fortunate. Not like that. Like how can I help this person right now? And oftentimes we have to get mistreated by them, because they might not know how to properly associate with the Vaishnavas of the devotees. And then they might mistreat us even. But no problem. How can I still help you? How can I be of service? Like this. So, we're about out. If they're short, it is short. We can do one more. Matur garbha gato viraha satada brigunandana Dadarsha purusham kanchid Dahyamano stratejasa Matu, mother, Garbha, womb, Gata, being situated there, Vira, the great fighter, Sa, child Parikit, Tada, at that time, Brigunandana, O son of Brigu, Dadarsha, could see, Purusham, the Supreme Lord, Kanchit, as someone else, Dayamanaha, suffering from being burned, Astra, the Brahmastra, Tejasa, temperature. O son of Brigu, Shonak, when the child Parikit, the great fighter, was in the womb of his mother Uttara, and was suffering from the burning heat of the Brahmastra, thrown by Ashvatthama, he could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. So now, Yudhishthira was being glorified, and now it's back to the subject matter at hand, Maharaj Parikit. He could observe the Supreme Lord coming to him. Purport: death generally involves remaining in trance for 7 months. A living being, according to his own action, is allowed to enter into the womb of a mother by the vehicle of a father's semina, and thus he develops his desired body. This is the law of birth in specific bodies according to one's past actions. When he is awake from trance, he feels the inconvenience of being confined within the womb, and thus he wants to come out of it, and sometimes fortunately prays to the Lord for such liberation. This is actually the Vedic description. That's why in the morning when we sing, what is it? Baji boboli aese samsara bitare bulia rohile tumi avidyara bade. At birth you had promised Krishna to relish his bhajan. You live in a world of darkness, promise forgotten. Why? Because at birth, in this trance stage, the baby in the womb actually will, if they're fortunate, they will remember many, many past lives and how they got in this situation. And they're actually very deeply connected to the Supreme Lord at that time, and they pray and they plead and so on. But what ends up happening is that they come out back into the world of darkness. You think they're in the womb in darkness, but actually they're quite realized, but it's very uncomfortable. It's a very miserable situation. There's worms, everything is swimming in the womb with you, it's biting you, the skin is so tender, everything is so tender, it's a brutal situation. Even, I'm seeing my baby's body. He's come out only a few weeks ago. But if even just a little bit of cold touches, he's, so sensitive. But in the womb, it's even more so. If she eats a little spicy food, he's burning. If she eats a little salty food, he's burning. Bitter food, he's burning. like this. It's a very miserable situation. So actually, though, due to that intense misery, though, he can be very strong in spiritual conviction. So all of the living entities at that time, they pray to the Lord. They develop a God consciousness, even the atheists. But what ends up happening is that when we come into the world, depending on our karma, depending on our environment, we end up coming into a world of darkness, and our promise gets forgotten every time. And what happens? We fall into this family, this lineage, and we become thinking we're this body, we're from this family, we're from this place, we're from this, and we become very proud of our place of birth, our family lineage, our offspring, our relatives, all these things, our wealth, all these things. But actually, this isn't the case. So anyway, death generally involves remaining in trance for 7 months. A living being, according to his own action, is allowed to enter into the womb of a mother by the vehicle of a father's semina, and thus he develops his desired body. This is the law of birth in specific bodies according to one's past actions. When he is awake from trance, he feels the inconvenience of being confined within the womb, and thus he wants to come out of it, and sometimes fortunately prays to the Lord for such liberation. So this is why birth takes place. He's in trance, and then he realizes now where he's come. Oh my God, I'm in this body. Get me out of here. And he's and so for about the last 2-3 months, he's struggling his way out, or she. And eventually, labor takes place, and he comes, or she comes. So,
Is that what the kicking is about?
yeah, probably. Yeah, because I think they start kicking at about 7 months and things like that. That's exactly. Get me out of here.
Most people think it's cute.
Oh, he's kicking. Yeah, that's what all these.
Totally miserable.
Yes, all these like midwife. Actually, it was interesting. We did sonograms with the baby. We'll never do it again because these people are. Yeah, not ideal to handle these things because they don't know what's going on. But anyway, they're like taking my wife's belly, shaking up and down. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, so, oh, he's just having fun. Oh, he's so active in there. And I'm seeing his little hands like in a prayer, like this, in the womb. I'm seeing in the sonogram, he's just, like begging,
Yeah, what the heck are you doing?
Yes, it's, and it was actually crazy. But yeah, that's what the kicking, that's what all these things are about, Help me. Get me out of here. So Maharaj Parakit, he was in the womb, while in the womb of his mother. Oh no, I missed a very important thing. Thus he wants to come out of it, and sometimes fortunately prays to the Lord for such liberation. Maharaj Parakit, while in the womb of his mother, was struck by the Brahmastra released by Ashvatthama, and he was feeling the burning heat. But because he was a devotee of the Lord at once appeared himself within the womb by his all-powerful energy, and the child could see that someone else had come to save him. Even in that helpless condition, the child Parakit endured the unbearable temperature, due to his being a great fighter by nature. And for this reason, the word Vira has been used. So Emperor Parakit, he was a great soul, and he was a very qualified grandchild, being the son of Abhimanyu. If you know about Abhimanyu's pastimes in the Mahabharata, he was like one of the greatest fighters, and it took all of Drona, Bhishma, everyone at once. I don't know if Bhishma was part of it. Bhishma might have already fell. But I think Drona and everyone else, Karna, all the great warriors. Bhishma was there?
The Chakravyuh, na?
Yes.
Bhishma also.
Bhishma, okay, so everyone was challenging Abhimanyu, and he himself was fighting everyone. He was incredibly powerful, being the son of Arjuna and Subhadra, the sister of Krishna. But by all of their combined efforts, they were able to kill him. Actually, interesting fact about Abhimanyu, in his astrology, it had that he would become the enemies of his uncle, which was Krishna. So actually, by Krishna's arrangement, for Krishna's devotees, all of them, so that Arjuna and Subhadra wouldn't have a son who would turn against the Lord. It was all arranged that he would die this heroic death and all these things like this. So we may wonder, why would such a thing happen to Abhimanyu? So it was for his great benefit. So he didn't overstay his welcome in the material world and become an enemy to his uncle. This is proof of the power of astrology. We were talking about this yesterday. Oh, well, if you just chant Hare Krishna or eat prasadam, all of your astrology is just changed or things like that. It doesn't work like that. You can make everything in your astrology favorable for bhakti. Even this, Abhimanyu fought along the side of Krishna in the war and died the great hero's death. But it wasn't going to change his astrology. Actually, the astrological chart is actually a form of Krishna in the Bhagavatam called the Shishumar, or it's like the dolphin, the cosmic dolphin form. And that's why when devotees get married, when the devotees have children, when devotees do this, everything should be calculated properly astrologically. So this is actually a form of Krishna and to be respected. Even so much so that Krishna respected. When Lord Ram, when Jatayu, Ravan calculated the exact time astrologically to capture Sita so that he would be successful, because he had great wisdom in Vedic science. But actually by Jatayu's service, he actually fought with Ravan for 1 hour, or actually 48 minutes. What's that called? Some Yahara, something like this. But one phase of 48 minutes of time. And he shifted the astrology from that which, when you take it, you'll surely be successful, to that, if something is lost, it will always be recovered. So it went from Ravan's favorable astrology to Ram's favorable astrology. Why does Krishna do like this?
That is also science.
Yes,
That is also science.
yes, it's a science. But sometimes we get some misconceptions in devotional life. Oh, and it doesn't matter. These are all lower things. I'm a devotee of Krishna. No. This is Krishna's system. You learn to play the system properly. So anyway, that's a little bit of off. But he was a great warrior. He was born of Abhimanyu, one of the greatest warriors and a great devotee of the Lord. And so he was very strong in the womb. He was a very strong body was given. But still, the heat of the Brahmastra is while in the womb, Maharaj Parikshit, while in the womb of his mother, was struck by the Brahmastra released by Ashvatthama and was feeling the burning heat. But because he was a devotee of the Lord at once appeared himself within the womb by his all-powerful energy. And the child could see that someone else had come to save him. Even in that helpless condition, the child Parikshit endured the unbearable temperature due to his being a great fighter by nature. And for this reason, the word Veer had been used. We read that actually. So actually, this is the nature of Maharaj Parikshit. And actually, the name Parikshit means examine. To see, he's always, what was he examining? In the womb, he saw Krishna. He had the darshan of Krishna. He appeared in the Narayan form to save him. So in this world, he was always looking around when he was a baby. As soon as he came out, where is that person I saw who saved me during that time? So he became a great devotee of the Lord. And even when he got cursed, what he did, he spent this last 7 days of his life setting up the Leela for the Bhagavatam by always wanting to hear about that person he was looking for. And that's what we're reading. We're reading the Bhagavatam. Yes, from Shukadev. Yes, from Shukadev Goswami. So this is it. So anyway, Grantharaj, Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Any question or comment before we go?
Well, you never finished it, because I interrupted, of course, but Dhruva Maharaj, did he stand on one toe or something?
Yeah, he was doing all kinds of tapasyas. I think standing on one leg, or
You were finishing saying that first he wanted it.
oh, that's right. Yes, yeah. First, he wanted a kingdom, and he was so insulted by his mother-in-law and father that he was cast aside from his father's lap, even though he's the son of a king, because they had 2 wives, and the other wife was more favorable. So she got envious, and she said, "No, my son belongs." And his father was conquered by this other wife that he didn't protest her mistreating. But he was so slighted by this, and his mother told him to go to the Lord. Any desire you have, just go to the Lord. And this pastime teaches us, no matter what you have, you should just no matter what you want, just go to the Lord. You'll get everything you want. But actually, when he received it, when the Lord actually appeared to him, he famously prays, I was praying for broken glass, and here I am receiving jewels. A kingdom greater than my father, that's what he wanted. But the Lord, he said, I don't want that anymore. And the Lord said, too bad. I've come here to give you this. So he gave him the whole pole star, the whole Shishumar, the whole astrological constellations, they all revolve around this what's known as the Sirius star, or the North Star. But this is Dhruva Loka of the Vedas. And this planet is said to be the highest.
One star.
Yes.
Dhruv star.
Yes, so this is the highest planet in the material world. And Dhruva is a great devotee there, and everyone there is a great personality.
Is it what we call the pole star?
Yes, it's called the Sirius, or the North Star, the pole star. If you look in the constellations, everything revolves. This star is fixed, everything else is changing around it. So, like this. I wonder who's here. So anyway, very nice. But that's it. Oh, Shravani is here. Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Do you remember Shravani?
I know Shravani. She actually Shubham messaged me yesterday. He said he wanted to meet Sita Ma, but I didn't know like what was her.
Yeah, I was here like for the graduation.
Ah.
So just wanted to meet you all.
Do you have to meet this person? Do you know who this is?
I saw the Instagram post actually.
Yeah.
But I thought you guys are still in New Jersey.
No,
So I was
no.
like, okay, I'll just stop by while leaving. So.
Yes, this is meet Tulsidas. So it's very good. Hare Krishna. So we'll end here. We're in the middle of Bhagavatam class, so
Oh,
we're going